Hi guys, my name is Matt Darvis. I'm the campaign director here at Micah, Australia. I just wanted to bring you a bit of an update from the campaign here and what's been happening. Well, 2018 has been a bit of a comeback year for us after Micah kind of went quiet for a little bit here in Australia. I guess we really had our glory years when many of you guys in the aid campaigning world did between about 2007, 2012, when there was a lot of optimism that, we could make poverty history and we were seeing aid budgets increasing around the world. Well, in the 5 years since then, Australia has actually suffered tremendous cuts to our aid budget, and that's really taken some of the energy out of the movement here around the Millennium Development Goals and around the aid budget. And then after 2015, the Sustainable Development Goals didn't really quite take off here in Australia as the MDGs did, and it left Micah in a bit of a situation of wondering where to next. So at the start of this year, Tim Costello, who some of you all know, he was the CEO of World Vision here in Australia, he picked back up on Micah Australia, really with that strong belief of wanting to see the church engaged for global justice. And so we've been doing just that, seeing what works in this new context. We really see ourselves in a very different set of circumstances to when Micah was first created back in the early 2000s. We're seeing populism rising around the world. We're seeing authoritarian forms of government and leadership rising around the world. And I think that causes us to re-ask, what does it look like to raise a prophetic voice for justice on behalf of the world's poor here? And we're realizing the conversation has to be about more than just aid, more than just dollars and cents and statistics. We need to really ask Christians, as citizens of the kingdom of God, what is their identity? How do we speak up for the world's poor in different areas, in the displacement of people, in the trafficking of modern day slaves, and of course around the Sustainable Development Goals. So we've been thinking through how to do that here in Australia. We've been really focused on engaging younger adults, and we're finding a lot of resonance in that. We think the next generation here in the Australian church is really primed to speak up for justice. And really we focused not just on digital activities, but how do we bring people together face to face? And that's where we've seen a lot of our success this year. In May, we had about 80 young adults in one of the first actions we did go down to Canberra, our nation's capital, and staged a great banquet event the day after our budget was released, our national budget, really saying, here in Australia, we have been blessed. We have plenty to share. How are we being generous to those that are in need around the world? And next week, I'm taking 10 female leaders from across the Australian church down to Canberra for a lobbying trip as well. I think that's going to be a powerful witness, not just to the politicians, but to the Australian church, as to the role of female leadership in really taking up the mantle of justice here in Australia. And in December, we're going back to our kind of flagship event, Voices for Justice. We're hoping to see 300 Christian advocates and leaders in Canberra, meet with about 80 to 100 politicians. It's a big endeavour to undertake. We weren't sure if we could do it this year, but already we've had 110 people register for that, so we're really confident that's going to go ahead and be a wonderful event. So that's where we are here in Australia. We're thinking through what the future looks like in 2019 and beyond. Our member organisations, who are the Christian International Development Groups here in Australia, they're excited. They seem to be investing and wanting this to take off again. So good things ahead for Mike here in Australia, and thanks for letting us bring this update to you today. See you later.